Panama City Beach, Florida. The 3-day event provides farmers with information about peanut production, legislative issues, marketing, and promotions. The conference is presented by the Southern Peanut Farmers Federation. Visit southernpeanutfarmers.org for more information.
Do you enjoy receiving all the news from the Southeast AgNet reports? There's another way to stay informed through our Southeast AgNet e-newsletter. Visit southeastagnet.com and click on the sign up for our Southeast AgNet e-newsletter to start enjoying agriculture news coverage delivered right to your inbox.
I'm Darren Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
Unbeatable prices and events are popping up everywhere at Rural King. Like an antique steel fire pit for just $49.98. Or your choice of 27-foot tie-down ratchet straps, just $7.99 a piece. And don't miss taking a spin on the baddest mowers at our Lawn Mower Rodeo. Saturday, June 18th from 10 till 2. Must be 16 or older to ride. Shop now at RuralKing.com or your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Today will be mostly sunny and humid with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. High today 92 to 95. Then mainly clear tonight, low 74 to 77. We'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine Thursday with a thunderstorm in the area, mainly later in the day. High 90 to 94. And mostly sunny skies Friday with a high of 90 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
This hour of Ocala Talks is brought to you in part by Blockers Furniture. Go see all their specials at blockersfurniture.com.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Wednesday. Every other Wednesday, the good folks from On Top of the World come in and talk to us. Actually, it's the first and third Wednesday. If you got five Wednesdays in a month, they don't show up on that fifth one. Robert Colin from On Top of the World, he's here. Robert, good morning.
Good morning, Tom. Thanks for having us.
Robert, who'd you bring with you? You always bring cool guests, so who'd you bring with you
Well,
today?
this one's a really cool guest, and I thought it would really fit into you because this is Butch Guest. He's the warranty manager for On Top of the World.
Yeah, but what's his last name if he's the guest? What's his last name?
His last name is Guest.
Oh, okay. All right.
And Butch and I have been working together for, probably 6 years now or more. 8, whatever, 6, 8.
See, time flies when you're having a good time.
It is.
So Robert must not be having a good time, Butch, because he's only 6 years in.
I know.
But Butch and I have been through a lot together, and he's actually been on this show before. So we wanted to talk about, it's summertime, and Butch has a lot of expertise and experience dealing with how to get your house ready for the summer storm season, and also to inspect your house so that you're making the most efficient choices and making sure that your house is you're not going to have any kind of leaks or any kind of issues with the house going forward. So it's something I think is really important for us to talk about, and I brought Butch on to help.
So let me get this right, Butch.
Yes, sir.
When you buy a home, you help the residents out On Top of the World, and you and the employees that work with you help them even after they buy the home, know whether their home's still in good standing, whether there's, when they have issues, they ask for your advice. Am I reading that right? That
Correct.
You come in and you say, it was good you called us, here's what we found. It's kind of like a home inspection anytime they need it, though, because you want to keep up the quality of the homes.
We do our best with that. Yeah, we're going to be there to answer any questions they have. We don't go out to the homes and look at them. But if they have a question or they have, what is everybody else doing? Sure, we're there to go ahead and help them on that way.
Well, it's hurricane season.
Mm-hmm.
It's also microburst season.
Mm-hmm.
It's also thunderstorms moving through at 60 miles an hour with wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour as a normal activity in the afternoon season.
Mm-hmm.
People think, it's hurricane season, but they don't realize a lot of times you don't think about, we have just normal storms pass through
Absolutely.
that can have hurricane force winds and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just hurricanes you have to be prepared for, is it?
No, it's just basically every day. Pretty soon we're going to be through every afternoon. You can be able to time your watch. Here comes the rain.
Yeah, and you get those heavy rains, and after a while, you have to worry about, I mean, are my shingle's going to hold up? If my the ridge vent's going to hold up so that we're going to leaks or boots around, for the fans for your bathroom. Those are places where you get a typical leak coming in during the day. So those are the kind of things that Butch really has a lot of experience dealing with.
I know that you probably get these questions, and my neighbor just had somebody out to deal with this. Because it rains so much, and because even if you have a good gutter system, they can get inundated and overworked because of how hard it rains.
Yes.
So a lot of times that water can puddle around your foundation and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you got the rocks out there and everything, that's a real concern in Florida, being that we live on top of basically a cave of water underneath us.
Right.
Making sure your foundation doesn't get washed away by some of these torrential
Yeah, your
rainstorms.
erosion and everything, right?
Right.
And that's something that, even no matter how good it's built, Mother Nature is still a strong entity.
Yes, it is.
It's not just the rain sitting there, although
Right.
most houses should be designed so the water flows away from the house into swales or to the back of the property, the front of the property, away from the house.
Got that dog, though, that digs in the yard or something.
That's right, that happens.
There's all kind of ways.
But it's not just the rain. I mean, the sun beating down on it wears out those shingles. It wears out the paint. And so those are the kind of things you got to keep your eyes on frequently.
We see all the time, though. We hear all the time about. I had it happen to a friend of mine less than 3 months ago. His aunt called him, said, "There's a man here that says my shingles look in disrepair. He says they're bleached out, and even though my roof's only 11 years old, it's in such bad shape that we need to replace it, and it's going to cost this much money and everything." Ended up the guy was not reputable. But that happens a lot in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
One of the services you offer your residents is they can call and say, "Hey, had a guy stop by yesterday. He said this is wrong with my roof. Does that sound right to you?" And you guys can help answer some questions like that.
We do. The nice thing about On Top of the World is we don't allow them to solicit.
Well, yeah.
And if they do get in there, right, we kind of tell them, look, if you didn't call them and you didn't have a concern,
you must go.
You must go. Absolutely. So we always tell them, get a home inspection done onto it. Get a reputable, roofing company. Hey, can you come out here and take a look at this and let me know what you think? That's always your best way.
Let's talk for a minute about windows, because everybody talks when storms come, we talk about the roof and everything, and it needs to be in good shape. But now you see different. I see every day windows are advertised that they'll shatter, but they don't break, and they don't allow projectiles through, and you got to have 200-mile-an-hour windows, and there's a myriad of different things. Is the window industry to the point where it's so confusing, people reach out to a guy like you to say, "Hey, this house that we've been in On Top of the World's 20 years old. Should we look at new windows?" Are those the kind of questions people send you sometimes?
They do. They ask us all these type of questions from there. We always tell them, always look at your windows, make sure that they're sealed properly. As far as, impact resistance only, needed on the coast where we have those higher winds. In here, the code right now is Category 2. Our windows are up to a Category 3. So, that's one of the things you got to look into. The older windows, always want to do after about 20 years, you might want to look at them. How well are they looking at?
I was saying, in 20-year-old windows, I think you're less worried about the wind as you would be the energy efficiency.
Energy efficiency, the balancers, the glazing that's always on the windows.
One of the great things about modern windows is, a lot of them are fiberglass or vinyl framed, and they keep the cool air on the inside of your house in the summer and the warm air on the inside of your house during the winter, and they don't sweat. So, or there's some minor sweating at first as the house climatizes, but I would say that you're not worried so much about the windows except for projectiles flying through them.
Right. But that's a real concern when you live in an area like On Top of the World, where homes aren't right on top of each other, but they are close in proximity to each other. And if your neighbor doesn't listen and tie down their outdoor furniture, and when we talk about storm prep, that's a real problem too, is making sure that all the neighbors, everybody in the neighborhoods and the subdivisions know that when you storm prep, that doesn't mean make sure your shingles are good or your windows are good. That also means bring that grill in the garage that sat out on the back porch that's not chained down. Right. Take that metal wrought iron furniture. People go, "Well, metal furniture can't be picked up and thrown in the wind."
Oh, yes, it can.
end up in your living room.
Yes, it will. Seen it many times.
But when people call to ask about storm prep, how much do you guys how big is that blanket or that umbrella that you talk to the residents about storm prep?
As much as they want to. I mean, we give them generalizations that are onto it. You know, the media does a beautiful job. Something with the Ocala PD and Marion County Sheriff's Department, they tell you a great deal of what you need to pick up. There's a lot of pamphlets that are out there. We tell them, you know, basically look at your yard, pick up anything that you think you can pick up, tie it down or move it in.
Storm prep is one of the people that don't storm prep are one of the biggest pitfalls to damage to houses, I would think, out there.
Yeah, one of the things that On Top of the World does is because our homeowner association it's a strong organization, the management company, and we require that you get a modification for anything that you do, a modification approval for anything you do on the outside of the house. So if you're going to put 3 shepherd hooks outside your house or a lot of lawn furniture, you got to get approval for that, and we have limitations on what you can do. And the reason for that is, of course, if the windstorms come through, and they can come through at any time, you don't want that stuff getting picked up and thrown through your neighbor's window, and you get people who don't even care what they affect. So we want to protect everybody in the community so that we don't have that.
Robert, I played a little golf out at your place.
Apparently not enough.
It doesn't have to be a storm for me to put a projectile through a window.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's happened.
My golf game, I can put a projectile through a window at any time.
Yeah, we've actually recommended to people who live on the golf course to get the special kind of screens for their windows that are a little stronger and will endure that. So,
you've seen me play golf, haven't you?
I have not seen you play golf.
But one of the things people don't think about sometimes is it could be that could be a damage to your home as a golf ball when you live on a golf course, and that's some things you need to be prepared for as well.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I didn't realize golf balls could damage stucco because I didn't know what stucco was made with. I mean, I thought it would be as hard as a cement block or something, and the golf ball bounce off of it. That didn't happen.
Yeah, stucco is just basically a concrete that's
sprayed on some wire on top of the block.
Well, that's when it's on wood, but if on the house it's just pushed up on there, and
right.
it can chip off if you hit it hard enough. I'm sure you must have been hitting pretty hard to get stucco knocked
Before
off.
My back surgery, I hit the ball pretty hard.
There you go.
Had no idea where it was going, but I hit it pretty hard. I liked houses. They would bounce the ball back towards the fairway.
Absolutely.
Until you get the homeowner or two who'll run out on the golf course and start swinging at you or something.
Well, there's been some dicey times.
Yeah.
Let's talk for a minute, though, about how you go about making contact, or is there numbers people can call, or is there websites they can go to if they want to reach out to your department to ask the questions or get the assistance you provide?
Just make sure that would be for On Top of the World residents. We don't need
everybody. Yeah.
No, it's for On Top of the World residents.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Basically, when we do a new home orientation, we go through.
You give them all that information.
Give them all the information. They have a general contact they have, and as well as they also have a contact number that goes to our office that will field all the questions the best way we can and give them the answers that they need.
Now, do you work in concert with the contractors that are approved to build homes out there? Is that something, as the homes are being built, that your office works with them in close proximity
as
well?
far as their warranties go, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, it is only Colin-built construction that's building houses out there. So then that's where Butch comes in as a representative, as the warranty manager for that on all new houses. And then he works with like the window contractor or the stucco contractor or the roofer or the plumber, that if there's an issue that his team comes in and then they make sure it gets fixed.
We've heard a lot of issues about warranty recently, where insurance companies are wanting to move out or drop people, even though their roofs are still in warranty.
Right.
They want to drop them because they're more than 10 years old.
Right.
We've heard all of this before. What is it about roofs that people want to say that after 10 or 11 years that they may not uphold or anything, or is that just a capitalist thing where we need more money? Because I thought roofs were supposed to last 20, 25 years.
Usually, if you have a 30-year shingle, you can get approximately about anywhere between 20 to 25 years out of it, and it depends on a lot of things.
The sun has
sunlight.
a lot to do with
You
it.
get direct sunlight. Are you maintaining it, cleaning it period? You cleaning your gutters? Are you cutting back your tree limbs? It's all kinds of things onto it. As far as every 10 years, I can't speak on that because I haven't. I've heard it, but I don't.
When you have those 3-tab shingles, they were like 15-year shingles.
Yeah.
They might last 11 to 12 years. and then it becomes a problem. But currently, we like on Top of the World, we're using a 50-year shingle.
Right.
That's guaranteed by GAF, which is the manufacturer. And you even with those, you should still get 42 years out of them.
Right.
So if the insurance companies are coming in and saying, well, you only get 10, and then maybe they are, I don't know if they're doing that with those 50-year shingles. I mean, that basically speaks to we don't want to really insure your house, and you probably should look to get another insurance company.
Well, I think it behooves you guys, it benefits you guys that you don't let the unscrupulous guys come in to make the fraudulent claims like happens in a lot of places that aren't as stringent on who they let into the property as on Top of the World is.
I can tell you when I was working in Butch's role, we met with air conditioning contractors, or the homeowners would call us and say, hey, we've got this AC guy, he says we need to replace it, and he told us the house, it was all installed incorrectly. And you go out there and you look, and it was the same company that came out and told them it was installed incorrectly. That's the one that installed it originally.
Right.
And you're like, okay. And then we'd have somebody who's an AC tech or an AC representative. They look at it, they say, no, it's installed properly. Everything's right. So you do get those people who try to defraud, especially seniors, because they think that they can intimidate them, they can worry them to the point, and that's where when they live on Top of the World and they're able to call somebody who's not there to take advantage of them, because at that point we don't even want we don't want anything to happen, and we want to protect them. So it's important for them to know that they have somebody they can trust to call and to look out for their interests.
Now, when you deal with vendors and you deal with contractors that want to come out, when the idea of what is your warranty city, what are some of the factors you look for to make sure that the warranties that are being offered are up to par with what the standards of On Top of the World are?
Well, we've set those as far as when we start our conversation with them. We tell them that we want at least, for all of our major building things, they have to warranty them for a minimum of a year. That's onto it. Now, that doesn't go into plants, trees, sod, those kind of things, but the minimum is a year. We tell them you're going to warranty these for a year, and then we negotiate with them as far as visits and stuff like that are onto it. So a lot of our major vendors are happy to jump on there, and they extend their warranties longer than that.
So they can extend their warranties depending on the situation.
Absolutely.
And that's all negotiated pre-build?
When we're doing the first year for construction, because we pretty much handle everything during the first year of construction, then we're basically there in the background, giving them answers and helping them through the process for materials. Labor is pretty much just standard 1 year.
Now, how big an operation is your division? You're the warranty manager for On Top of the World. Now with Calessa coming in and everything, they fixing to have to give you some hiring power to get some more people?
I don't have anything to do with Calessa. I handle just strictly On Top of the World. We have another warranty division, another warranty team that handles Calessa.
There's still about 400 houses a year at this point.
Right. So, my folks that I got a great team that's right there behind me, and I have 5 warranty reps right now, myself, and I have a coordinator. So, we're averaging about 400, 450 homes a year.
Give me a typical day if I was going to, and I know that typical is a bad word, but give me a day in the life if I show up and I was going to do a ride along with the warranty manager.
Basically, you're going to be visiting a lot of homes, dealing with, questions, concerns from anywhere from the yard to appliances to
cracks,
concrete cracks, general questions, you name it. You're running a gambit. It's never boring.
I can tell you, we've seen everything that could possibly happen, and I've just watching him in movies, you start going, well, he's got this going on with his air conditioner. Yeah. Or what.
I know. I don't. Some things I can't understand, and with building and all, when you talk about stuff that happens, my neighbor in the subdivision we live in fixed his cracked driveway. His driveway, a piece of it, probably 8 foot by 10 foot, had cracked away from the rest of the driveway and sunk about 6 inches below the other driveway, part of the driveway. Well, now there's a big issue with the HOA and all to get him to fix it, because he had a company come out and instead of fix the driveway by bringing it back up and level it, he just took and filled in that crack, and it's like a 6-inch drop down to where the driveway is. So it looks just horrible.
Absolutely.
Well, good luck finding concrete companies right now, because everything is difficult to find.
Well,
so I feel for the guy.
But when you see that, you're like, and it brought me when I thought of that, because you immediately think you think you've seen everything, and then you see a guy do something like that, and I'm like, that's a patch. That's not even a fix.
Yeah, it's not even really a patch. It's not going to last very long.
No, because by the way, where they patched it, it's already showing cracks.
But he needs to look and see if he's got some kind of leak underneath it.
Yeah.
I'm
maybe
sure it's
irrigation
irrigation.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But
or a tree root or who knows what, but it's something.
But when you talk about you see everything, you never know what you may drive up on.
Yeah, every day it's something new, and you're like, wow, that's a new one. Yeah, absolutely.
Are leaks probably the number one question you hear about?
Yeah,
roof and leaks.
Yeah, and they're the hardest to find. They truly are.
Yeah, because you get a skylight that's got a little crack right near it, or
and it will run, 10 feet this way, 20 feet that way.
It follows the trusses and it goes to
wherever somebody didn't put the flash. Somebody just left a small little gap in the flashing, and then because how water runs, water finds the easiest path.
Right.
Absolutely.
It may come out in your sheetrock and your ceiling in a bedroom where the leak's actually in the
side
vaulted ceiling in the kitchen.
Yep, absolutely. Seen them all the time.
But I tell you, most leaks that we've seen, and which can agree or disagree, but is coming from either the ridge vent having something around it, maybe like the end caps have popped off, which are easy to replace, or coming from the vent stacks, and that's most of them. A lot of times on new houses they've been inverted, so they've been pushed up, and then the
rubber gasket that's around.
Yeah, the rubber gasket gets inverted, and that causes a leak. We've seen that a lot. Those are very easy fixes, but it's like you can't see it unless there's a leak, and that's when you have to look for it.
And sometimes you don't find it enough.
Right.
Then you rip that roof off, and then the plywood's got to
hope
come
not.
off. I know, but if you let it go too long.
Oh, yes, it.
You know, I remember a friend of mine, he had to replace his whole roof because he said, I noticed that there was a little stain in the corner of my bedroom, but I didn't think anything of it till it got to be the size of a basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little late then.
It took him about 4 years for it to get the size of a basketball, as the heat and humidity in that attic was just rotting wood away.
Yeah,
rotting wood away. Mm-hmm. And it had literally started at the ridge cap and had run down the trusses to his back bedroom. Mm-hmm. So it had run down, he had vaulted ceilings in his house and everything, full attic up there. Mm-hmm. So it had run quite a ways.
Yeah.
And he asked the roof, once he figured out what it was, they're ripping plywood off. He goes, how long do you think this has been running? Roofer goes, there's no way to tell, but this kind of damage didn't happen overnight, didn't happen over months, didn't happen over a couple years.
Right. I believe it.
And you don't know those things are happening.
No. Out of sight, out of mind.
How important is it to have a guy like you or to get in contact with you if you're a homeowner on top of the world? How often should you get like a warranty checkup or have an inspector come out and check things? How often should that happen?
Well, it really would depend on the age of the home. New homes, not so much. When you're buying resales.
5 years in, 10 years in?
Usually any time that you have like 5 to 10 years, you probably want to have somebody check it out. If you can't do it yourself, get a home inspection done. Get a friend, or a friend of a friend, somebody that's in just to look around your house if you can't get up on a ladder.
What should they be looking for, Butch?
Yeah, basically you're looking for soft spots. You're looking for cracked stucco on there for water penetrations. Caulking around your windows that is cracked, door insulation, your weather stripping, make sure that's in good shape. Not only just for that, as well as bug intrusion, stuff like that. Lubricate your garage doors, making sure that those are quiet and they operate properly. Just that general maintenance.
Yeah, repainting your house, especially the first 5 years, and then every 7 to 10 years after that is really important in Florida because it keeps the moisture out of the house, protects because those cracks happen. And when you paint it, you're sealing up the cracks, and the paint's there. Basically, it's a water barrier between your block and the outside.
Water's our worst enemy.
That's for sure.
The sun's got to be second place there.
It runs pretty
283 days a year. The sun just beats a house to death. It's got to be after water. Sun damage has got to be
right
because that caulk just loves to sit in the direct sunlight.
Absolutely,
all the time. It just loves it.
Mm-hmm.
That sun will make caulk turn into solid waste quicker than anything.
That's why we say always maintain it. Check your caulking around your windows and your doors. Just always make sure that stuff is up there.
Have you ever seen like when a storm comes through and when you find out that your caulk has failed, as the water starts
because the water's coming in the window.
Oh, yeah. And you're like, well, why is there water all over my?
Because your caulking's gone.
Just come through the window. And another thing that a lot of people don't do is inside the house. We think about prepping the outside of the house and everything. But a lot of people on the inside of the house, I bet one of the biggest leaks area are seals around toilets that people don't realize. You know, you plop down on it, you move it, you know, people sit on it. It eventually will loosen that toilet to the point where, you know, you'll have a leak there too if you don't pay attention.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things, I don't think people think about the inside of the home a lot.
No.
That you need to think of pipes and damp areas and stuff like that as well.
Kitchens, bathrooms, checking your piping right there.
The fortunate thing about that kind of leak is that you see it right away, and it's usually on tile or vinyl floor, and you don't have the damage that you have when those cracks happen inside or the leaks happen inside the walls or in the attic, and that's the ones that can be really expensive for you. At least with that one, you shut off the water to the toilet, and until you can get a plumber out there, maybe you just don't use that toilet, and you don't have problems.
Is that something you guys do? You give good advice on what vendors to use when those problems arise?
We don't go ahead and just tell them which vendors to use. We have lists.
You have suggested lists.
We have suggested lists that we'll go ahead and say, look, over here you can use these, pick from there, talk to your friends, like that. So yeah, we don't.
I tell you, like on Top of the World, the plumber, Mike Scott Plumbing, does all of our plumbing, and they're available all weekend. They're available all the time. So we
at
really
no extra charge, by the way.
Right, and we like working with them.
We know that because they advertise here. They're sponsoring this program, so
yeah,
nights and weekends, same price. They don't, you know. So I've heard, you know, I know some of the Mike Scott commercials by heart.
I bet you do.
They're great partners for us.
Hey, thanks for coming in today, guys.
My pleasure.
It always goes so fast.
Absolutely.
We'll talk to you 2 weeks, Robert.
Yep.
All right. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back at this time out. You're listening to Ocala Talks on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pride.
Representative Tom Rice, the Republican from South Carolina, lost his re-election bid to a Trump-endorsed challenger, Russell Fry, on Tuesday night. Rice is the first House Republican to lose his re-election bid after voting to impeach President Trump over his role on January 6. Representative Nancy Mace won, beating out a candidate backed by Trump. Two Los Angeles area police officers